Hello there, and welcome to part 2 of my match versus Jamie Boyt in our VG16 best of 3 set. Now, I knew I needed to switch things up for this game, since last time I leaded with Toga Kiss, I will correct myself now, and Kyogre. It didn't end up going so well, and he managed to taunt my Toga Kiss and start gaining a lot of momentum from that, I feel. So I decided to switch things up and lead with Toga Kiss again, because I felt it was still a very strong lead pick, and bring my own Rayquaza. But interestingly, he decides to switch things up as well. So we'll see what he does. So he decides to lead with his Gengar and Thunderous. Now, that leads up a lot of potential situations that can happen from here. Obviously, Thunderous is super effective against my Togetic, but as soon as I use Rayquaza's ability, I will take half damage from the Thunderbolt that it will do. Or obviously it might do Thunder, since he has a Kyogre in the back, who knows. But I should still be able to take that, since I am EV'd to take without the support from Rayquaza. I'm able to take a Life Orb Thunderbolt from that Thunderous. So from here, I decide that Mega Evolving is obviously the best play, but I feel like a double protect is necessary because the speed tier that Rayquaza hits is slower than that Thunderous, and I figure he wouldn't really want to switch out on this combination, so I'm pretty safe to do a double protect, and then I will be able to outspeed that Thunderous and use Draco Meteor on it, where he doesn't have too many safe switch-ins into it. Like, Scizor would probably be the safest switch, but I'm not sure if that would give him too much momentum, so double protect here. And also I get to see some moves. I'll get to see if he's a Scarf or not. This reveals that he's not a Scarf, and he goes straight for the Volt Switch. So from here I go for Draco Meteor, like I stated before, and obviously his taunt doesn't go through because I protected with the Toga Kiss as well. So that knocks out his Thunderous very cleanly, and it's very good for me. And from here, he goes for the Icy Wind, which is a very nice call. Obviously this means I'm slower than a Rayquaza or the Kyogre if he decides to switch it in. So I'll reevaluate my situation as soon as his next Pokemon switches in. Go for the Air Slash here to break his sash, and also I predicted him to use something like Taunt on me, but I think he may have figured that would have been too predictable, so makes sense his play. Now he Mega Evolves his Rayquaza, switches it in, and is a very threatening combination, just as threatening as before. He decides to go for the Protect, and that's very clever, because obviously I don't want to KO that Gengar right now. I don't feel like it's giving him too much pressure, so I feel it's still safe for me to ignore it, and I go for the Protect myself since his Rayquaza would outspeed mine. Actually I went for the double Protect there. Maybe I'm not actually too sure why I went for the double Protect there, seeing as Icy Wind actually hit. So it was actually safe for my Rayquaza to attack, but I suppose it was also a safe play to make, so then I could follow me the next turn. And it also stole his Rayquaza Protect turn. So, in a way, it did work out for me, I would say. It worked out for me, and obviously at the time, maybe I considered his Protect play. But right now, yeah, maybe I didn't need to do that, but it worked out, so I can't really complain about that too much. He decides to switch out with the threat of my Rayquaza, and I just decide to go ham on that slot, I think. Seeing as I can follow me and safely absorb an Extreme Speed and a Sludge Bomb combination. And as I figured out from the last match, his Kyogre is max speed, so I actually have a chance, if it is max speed of course, to KO the Kyogre with my own Dragon Ascent. Dragon Ascent was pretty safe on the slot anyway since a Rayquaza was there, and it should KO either of them on the switch-in. He decides to finally taunt me, and I go for the Dragon's Ascent. This was a very safe play, I figure. And we'll see if my calculations are correct. Yes, it does manage to KO that Kyogre. which is excellent for me, and now I am 4-2 up. But this game surely isn't over, because he does have a Rayquaza, and he'd managed to taunt my Togekiss. So, let's see how this plays out. The main problem is, from here, he can actually KO my Rayquaza, and I am slower than his Rayquaza. So I believe I am forced to switch out here, I believe. Yeah, I do switch out my Rayquaza because I do believe that I need it later. Switching into Ferrothorn here is pretty reasonable, seeing as if I manage to switch in the Kyogre, he may have gone for a Dragon's Ascent in that slot and hurt it. So Ferrothorn is able to take the Dragon's Ascent, and overheating that slot with the 2 resists, potentially staying in there, is still risky. He manages to KO me with Dragon's Ascent. I'm in knowledge that if I wasn't chipped, I'll be able to take that, so hopefully that'll offset some of his calculations. But yeah, it's still unfortunate that my Togekiss faints there. And he goes for the Sludge Bomb. I guess it was on their Rayquaza slot. And that does make sense. Since I used Dragon's Ascent, it would have KO'd me. So I'm glad that I switched back to Ferrothorn there to take that hit. And now I go for the Dragon's Ascent. I actually aimed this at the Gengar slot, because I figured that if I left him in a position where it's 2 versus the Rayquaza, it's impossible for him to win. So since my Rayquaza outsped the Gengar, I figured it was safest to double target it. And since he hasn't done Protect yet, switching into having to switch into Kyogre in the back still isn't the end of the world. And this does KO the Gengar. So from here, it's a 3 versus 1 situation, and it's very tough for him to get back to it. He goes for the overheat on the Ferrothorn, which is a nice play. And obviously, if I switch back to, I couldn't switch back to Kyogre because he would have gained some a free attack from that. I wouldn't have been able to really do anything from that. So yeah, that's a very good play, and he manages to KO that, and I switch back to Kyogre. So from here, this locks up the game. There isn't really too much he can do, especially with his lower defenses. And this is a rather clean victory compared to game 1. I'm very glad with the switch that I did with my team, and I will likely keep it for game 3. The main way he could accommodate for that is using his own redirection, I reckon. Which, we'll see if that comes into play or not. I mean, Dragon's Ascent, I am actually able to take that, since my Kyogre is a more bulky variant that is EV'd to survive some defensive hits. Like that one. So I go for the Dragon's Ascent, and I would say that safely wraps things up for game 2. So good game round 2, and you played very well, Jamie. Now moving on to game 3, and I will record that now. So I will see you guys for the next part, the last exciting part of our Swiss. So see you guys later.